My name is Monica Gleberman, and you're listening to Silence on Set podcast. On today's podcast, we're talking to Philemon Chambers, who plays Deputy Augustus on the hit show Walker Independence. The show is set in the late 1800s and is an origin story of the series Walker. Walker Independence follows Abby Walker, an affluent and tough-minded Bostonian whose husband is murdered before her eyes while on her journey out west. Abby arrives in the town of Independence, and everything just gets crazy from there. So to break down all of season 1, everything you need to know, give us some behind-the-scenes details, and talk about some really fun stories, here's Philemon Chambers.
Ready for the interview? I'm so happy to have you. I love you so much.
I love you too. Long time coming.
I know, because we would try to set up an interview, and then we could tell the people we just had like a whole hour conversation because we're just best friends now. Before we
I'm so sorry that you guys didn't get to see that. It wasn't for you yet. It wasn't for you yet. Not yet.
But it was so good, and I just love you. So I'm starting off the interview with how much I love you. So that's how we're gonna start.
Don't make me cry.
So let's jump into the show, which is
okay.
We're just totally pivoting now from before we recorded. So let's talk about the show. So you're on this show called Walker Independence.
I am. I think. Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Show. Yeah, which has taken off. I mean, it's I think one of the number one show. I mean, everybody's watching it, known to man. So let's start off with, I know people have asked you a million things about getting your role and what it's like and blah, blah, blah. So I want to get to the good stuff. So when you were getting Augustus, right? And like you read the script and you picture what he is in your brain and you film episode 1, now through to the finale, what has changed from your original perspective of him to now?
So this was the thing when Augustus, the creation of Augustus was coming together. Everything helped from wardrobe to then talking like him, seeing how he would respond to certain situations. And during the casting process, Larry was very, even if Larry had it, he would make you do it over. He would give you a different note. He would make you try something out of the box. And it helped build who Augustus at the time was. Because that's the funny thing, carrying on a character throughout a season, they change so much. They get into different situations, and from who Augustus was conceptually to who he became, a lot changed. Yeah, a lot changed. Halfway through the season, Augustus hit this point with Tom where he got more short-tempered and more short-tempered and more short-tempered. When we first meet Augustus, he's polite, nice, reserved, but welcoming, inviting. And then as season progresses, he just becomes a little bit more, curious. He's a little bit more aware of what's going on. And then at the end, I would say a lot. I don't feel like I answered the question properly, but a lot.
No, you did. I feel like, and this might help you, I feel like the show started, if this makes sense to you, as Augustus and ended with Gus.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah, like, I feel like it was such a transition from this guy that wants to do good, that's a little reserved, not really, wants to respect authority, not really sure where he stands. We're kind of like always on the fence, like, where does he stand towards Tom? And like, we don't really know. But wants to be respectful, and he is respecting me. But then over time, with more information, kind of like what you said, things start changing, and then I think Gus starts appearing, which is like a guy that's all right, I might be in an authoritative position, but it doesn't mean the person above me is necessarily a good person.
Right, which is why in 12, Otis says nobody is above the badge. And it's true.
True story. Yeah. Just saying, mic drop. Oh my God. We're like the same person. It's like, yeah, freaks me out. We're the same person. Yeah, so I feel like you went from Augustus to Gus. I wanted to ask you too, another thing which I really enjoy about the show is the diversity, obviously. That's on the no, this has come up before. But I love the fact that on a lot of shows when they introduce indigenous people, for example, they're like just on a reservation in the side, they're not really part of the story, and like you see them here and there, and like there's not much there. When they have someone from the Black community on the show, it's to push the story further. Like, like we're not really at the point where we need to be in terms of doing diversity. Walker doesn't do that. It's in the complete opposite. So not only do we have someone, a character that's not really technically, I mean, he's living on the reservation, but he's in the show on a regular basis. But I love when he goes back and they're talking in his language and we're seeing the titles coming up. And then for you, you're playing a Black character, a Black man in a time period where Black men were not respected and were not treated well. And this is not to be used to further the story along. Ironically, you're given a position of authority that is even crazy because of how Black men were treated back then. So for you, for reading all of that and kind of digesting the diversity and the craziness of how they were like, yeah, we don't care. Like, we don't care, white, Black, whatever. You're going to be playing this character and this is what you're doing. This is your authority. And we don't care that there's this is how we're doing it. And what was that like for you when you read it? Because it's so different and it's so unfortunately not normal. And I wish it was normal, but the show is making it more normal. So what was that like for you?
A breath of fresh air, because I didn't really see myself in Westerns when I was a kid. My dad, I grew up watching Bonanza, the Beverly Hillbillies, and it had a depiction of who Black men were, Black women were, Native American men, Native American women. There were certain things in there, but we were the butt of the joke. We weren't at the forefront. We weren't given storylines. And I understand at that time, Hollywood wasn't what it is now. And, even still to this day, our show, Independence, we are the most accurate depiction of what the West was. And it's crazy to me to say that and to still see that till this day, because you have other Western shows who they are very traditional and it's great, but we are the real depiction. And when I was reading it, and when Seamus was talking to me, when Larry was talking to me, when Laura was talking to me, when me and Justin met, and we knew what they wanted to do, it was such a breath of fresh air, because I was talking to Seamus and I was just like, you want a Black man in the 1800s to be sheriff? Okay. I was like, there's going to be some, he was just like, I know, when I want it. Because it's true, we're not, the thing about our show is we're not oblivious to what was in the 1800s in the sense of, the racism and everything like that. We're not oblivious to that. We're doing it in a more tasteful way. It's not as abrupt. But, going back to the original question, I love that they have put minority characters at the front and center. That is one of the reasons why I joined the project.
Yeah, and like for me, it was such a great thing, because when I saw the pilot and then obviously like future episodes, like as you started going in, I agree with you. It's not ignored. It's not ignored for sure. And there are times I think we're like Gus, like it's almost like he's threatened, because it's like, don't forget where you are. Don't forget that you have authority. Don't forget how easy it can be taken away, like those kind of things. So I think you're the character, so you could probably speak better than me, but I feel like he has that in his brain at all times, that that he's aware that he's in a privileged position as a Black man at this time, and is very cautious, especially in the beginning, as Augustus, if I'm using that term, as Augustus, in making decisions, because he doesn't want to risk losing that position, because who knows what would end up happening. So there are those things. There are comments made, right? So when you have Killian come down, they're like, you don't belong here. What are you doing in our town? So there are comments made. But what I love is the fact that it's not too further along the story.
Yeah.
which is what it's been used for before.
Yeah, and that was the biggest thing. We didn't anytime, particularly with episode 5, when me, Greg, and Justin were on the horses, and we're trying to find Eli. Eli, there it is. It's coming back. We were trying to find Eli, and Greg, when we were doing rehearsals for this, I was telling Seamus, and I was telling our director at the time, Carol, I was like, there are certain things in here that they want me to say that as a Black man, I just can't say. Because if you want to put me in that position, you have to put me in that position. I said, who Augustus is, I don't feel like he's just going to take anything that Tom says, especially out on the frontier. I'm like, there has to be this like give and take. I know he's going through what he's going through, but Augustus is going through what he's going through as well. So when I say you care to take that tone with me again, it wasn't a planned line. That was it just happened, and it fits so well because it was showing that Augustus had a little bit of bite back. He respected, but he was also saying, you need to respect me. So yeah, again, I could elaborate on that all damn day.
Well, it's funny that you should bring up that scene, because I was going to bring up that moment, because when you guys are on the horses and, and he yells at you, like Tom turns and yells at Augustus, and right away you turn, and I was like, what is he going to do? Is he just going to take it? Because he has been relatively quiet. And that's when I started seeing a turn happen. I feel like that was like a pivotal moment, and then when he goes, are you going to take that tone with me again? And like the look like that you gave, like that Augustus gives, is like, don't fuck with me look. Like, it was like, this, I'm being serious. Like, if I'm respecting you, you respect me. We're in a position, we're working together, we're looking. So I was like, whoop. I remember going like, whoop. Like, when you said it. And I think that's when things started changing. And for me, like, on the show, when they call, like, kind of shorten and call him Gus, I was like, that's when Gus was born. At that moment, he was going, I'm not going to stand for just anything. Like, I'm not going to let you just walk all over me. I do have a voice, and use it if I need to. But again, while being respectful, like, while trying to navigate the difficulties of, being a Black man at that time. But I'm so happy that he had spoken out.
And Gus is really modeled after my dad. My dad is very country. But to a fault, he is very respectful, very nice, very welcoming, but he's quiet. My dad bides his time with certain things, and that's what I kind of modeled Augustus after, was him biding his time. Him, Augustus is aware, but he might not say it right now. He might not say it later. He's gonna get his facts together. And when episode 6 happens, was it episode 6, where Augustus questions Otis about the cattle something. That episode was a long time ago. But that was the first
about the cattle being stolen.
Yeah, that was episode 6, right?
I think so. Whoever's
yes, it was. It was.
I think it was 6. That's where you guys were going. You were looking.
Yeah, it was 6 because 7 was Justin's episode with the hanging.
Yes.
That was that episode. So it was 6. And that was the first time we saw Augustus actually get something wrong. And I was like, okay. All right. We're okay.
I mean, like, listen, though, I give him a lot of credit, though, because when in those round of episodes, and I think and now you have me all like, it's hard because it blurs. I totally get it. And, every fan listening is going, it's hard. And so we're sorry, you guys, but like,
let us know in the comments.
What goes on. Yeah, leave it. Just leave the episode titles.
Leave it in the comments.
Study it. Yeah. But there's an episode, and I think it's either 5 or 4. I think it's 5 when you guys are talking, and they kind of come in. You're talking to Tom, and Augustus is saying, or no, Augustus is speaking about. Oh, it's to Kalian. You guys are having a conversation, and and I think it leads to what Killian's been doing. And you're like, well, you've been distracted. What's been going on? And
Five.
then
That was five.
yeah. And he finally kind of opens up and goes, I think, maybe things aren't right with Tom. I think this happened. And then Augustus goes, no, I can tell you that that didn't happen because I know X, Y, and Z. I wish you came to me earlier. That's what led you guys to go on the horses. So that is like, to me, was one of the, and again, this is why I want to bring up this episode, was one of the biggest moments because like, are you like,
I'm like, I saw something like my ADHD kicked in and I was like,
you're like, like little fuzz. But it's very interesting because in that episode, I feel like that episode in particular changed everything because Gus is not wrong in the fact that there was someone else there. I think we all assumed that it was Abby, that it was like her feet, and maybe that's what they were seeing, the 2 pairs of feet that were there, like the tracking. But in reality, Gus is not totally off, that it might not have. I mean, I think he thinks it's not Tom at that point, but I think that him assuming that there's another guy involved, and obviously if it becomes Tom's brother or whatever, that we find out down the road, he was on the right track. And I think that conversation with him and Killian was big because he was going, they both are from communities where you trust your own, right? And both have to cross over and trust each other. And they have that conversation and neither one judges the other. And you guys trust each other and go on that journey on those horses and have that whole like kind of scene together. And I just found that to be so interesting.
Even it was so interesting too, because at the beginning of 5, me and Justin are on that hilltop and we're kind of having that conversation of like, he's like, I'm sorry, I've been distracted. And I'm like, distracted by what? And there's so much that happens in that episode with Callie and Gus when it comes to their relationship. And then you have that ending scene when, they are one with each other still, but kind of off. And, then you have that in 6 where, is it 5 or 6? It's 5, right? Where the initial conversation happens at the sheriff's office when Callie is just like, Tom Davidson killed Liam Collins, and I'm just like, no. Like, so I agree. There was a lot that happened in that episode.
Yeah, like that was 6, and no, that was 5 that they have the conversation.
That led into 6. Yeah.
Yeah, and led into 6. But yeah, like it was just so interesting for me to watch that. And I remember screening it early and I went, ooh, things are changing. Things are changing for both of these characters. But really for me, I saw the biggest change in your character because like you said, he was so quiet and kind of like reserved and biding his time, picking and choosing battles, right? Like when do I speak out, when do I not speak out, all of that kind of stuff. And then this happens and you kind of start following clues and then we kind of go down this crazy path. So after 5 and 6 and 7, we start heading down to where things start getting crazy. So before we get to the part where the internet freaked, which I don't know if you saw this, where like the internet freaked out about the possible killing of Gus because we were all having heart attacks. So before we get there, and I want to know your heart attack when you read that script, but between 6 and kind of towards the end, so like between 6 and 12, how much do you see Gus opening up to this group of like these 4 that are really trying to gun after Tom, get the evidence that they need, but then also be open to the fact that there was someone else there that Gus kind of knows about? So like how does that all kind of work out, do you feel like, for your character in those episodes to make that storyline kind of thread through?
I think that if that didn't happen, storyline just wouldn't make sense, because at some point in time, the only other authoritative person is me. Tom is the one that they're gunning after, and the only other person is me. So you kind of have to get me on your side. So I personally loved when Gus got involved with the group, because then you saw, again, this unlikely group of people who you would not expect to, one, band together for one common goal. But, even the aspect of them getting along, like anything like that, it was just and then you saw them band together, not only with the Tom Davidson situation, but even with the Kai situation, and even with the Callion situation. You just saw this unlikely group of people come together, your chosen family, and they were not going to take no for an answer. And I definitely do think that throughout it, you definitely see Gus. You see a little bit more of him open up, and him open up, and him open up, and then like him being more receptive to certain things. But I can't fully talk about it all, because then we would have to talk about 12 and 13.
Oh, we're getting there. But no, I agree with you. And what I love so much is, and I give a lot of credit to Matt for this. I've spoken to Matt about it in the beginning, or kind of like the middle of the of Walker Independence, that we talked about it. But for Hoyt, I love I always laugh when he goes, and then there were 3, and then there were 4.
And there were 4.
And again, I just like start cracking up, because it's like, but the it's funny what he's saying, but underneath it is such a beautiful thing, because each person, and it's kind of going off what you're saying, they're all so different, could not be more different, right? You got like a crazy robber, like Hoyt's like all wild and nut and running around. You have like Abby, who's like super serious. You have Kate, who's like trying to like run things and like do like, everyone's in like all these different spots. You're like Gus is an authority. Don't picture like a peace meeting, right, with all of them sitting down and just having a conversation. And there were 2 things that I came out of that when Gus finally kind of becomes part of the group, which was, 1, this is such a great display of having a conversation, and everybody listen to one another, that all look different and all have different backgrounds and are all talking about things and respecting each other. They don't all agree, that's for damn sure, but they all have a conversation, and it's okay. And then the second thing that I felt like came out of it was the conversations that they have, and then the actions that kind of take place in the episodes after. Some of them aren't the correct kind of actions to take, but not one of them judges one for it. They all, because they're all after the same intent, is to do good. So even if something happened, it's okay. And I just love that so much. And the first thing that came to my mind that I could like kind of compare it to was almost like Hamilton, that kind of idea that like, right, like in the play, like everyone looks different, everyone's of different races, different colors, different different sexes, and everyone's playing all the kind of different parts, and you picture them in that meeting, and they have like that whole like song, and I won't go through Hamilton, but that scene, and they're having a conversation, and it's okay. Some of the biggest things that have happened in history are because people sat down and freaking talked to one another. Again, it's another thing that your show is doing that sounds so simple and so common sense, but is not happening on other shows. You will not find a Native American or like an indigenous person and a black person and a white person that had money, and like all of these kind of people, and a bank robber or whatever, Matt's gonna kill me, whatever he wants to call Hoyt, an outlaw. He'll probably like that better. An outlaw. Like, I know, he'll get mad at me about the robber, but like all of them sitting together, legitimately after one goal, working together and working through their differences. So before we get to the 12 and 13, for you, what is that like too? Like when you're reading all of that, and it's so believable. It's not cartoonish, it's not overdone, and it's not underdone. It's like perfectly on that line of being like, I believe that 100%, I get it, and I feel for all of these people. So what was that kind of filming process like? And as actors, did you guys talk about it, address it at all, or did you kind of just go in and film it?
We went in and filmed it. It's so hard. This is the thing. It is so hard to have all of us in a scene together, because we are idiots. We are horrible together. We cannot get through a single take without laughing. It's so bad, but it just contributes to the relationship that's off screen. Anytime we've gotten the script that, okay, let's say we didn't agree on the whole script, or we didn't agree with a scene with somebody in it, somebody felt some type of way, we all banded together, talked about it, and asked, how can we help? How can I help you with this? How can I help you with that? And it's something that Seamus is brilliant when it comes to the direction in which he wants the show to go. We never know in game Seamus, his mind, this universe that he's created is an ongoing thing, and that kind of made me say like he was crazy. I'm so sorry, but it's an ongoing thing, and he's so brilliant in his execution that honestly, we go in, we do it, and we all just genuinely listen to each other. We all value what the next person has to say. So it just shows. And that's the biggest thing with our family is that our family. We are a chosen family. We came together to do a show at the beginning, but now we are literally a family. I talk to everybody every single day.
Yeah, and that's what I love too, because for people that this is normal, right? Like, for me, like this kind of look at this table is normal. For me, it's great to see on screen because I don't see it. For other people that might feel like it's not their everyday life, and and they want it to be, or they want to learn more, and they want to be educated. That's what this show offers them, is offers the ability to be like, yes, you can have those conversations, you can sit at a table, you can disagree. Everything doesn't have to be a huge fight. And also to be educated. Like I love, like for Kellyanne, like I love it so much whenever he's on the reservation, because when they talk the way they talk or what they're showing you, if you don't know what that is, look it up. Like they're not going to explain it to you on the show, because there's no way to explain it. That's his life and that's what he's living. And that's how the show kind of does everything. So to mimic real life would make sense, because I'm sure there were conversations back then that looked like this. So like, like it all sounds so stupid because it's common sense, but it's not being shown on TV.
And you're right. It is so simplistic in its execution, but it's not done. It's not. And that's why, like, when it comes down to our show, this is how the West looked. This is how the West felt. Everything that we've seen prior to this has been a plagiarized version of what they've wanted to show us, of what Hollywood at one point wanted to show us. And when it comes down to specifically talking about Callian and him speaking Apache, I love it myself because, again, like you said, we're not over explaining anything. We don't have to. These are normal conversations between him and his people. We don't have to do the fluff. We don't got to add that. It's cut out. We don't have to do it. And even with my character with Augustus, in episode 5, notably, when we're not walking, we were on the horses for 13 hours that day. When we're coming through the ravine, I say hato, and it's basically what. Hato is what in Apache. And I thought it was so apropos to their relationship, because we've been friends for years now. And why wouldn't Augustus know Apache? Why wouldn't Augustus know certain things? So then that way Callian didn't have to translate all the time, because Augustus has gone to the Apache camp. He's been there. He stayed there when he was injured. So why wouldn't he know certain things? So even Justin allowing me, and the Apache translator allowing me to take part in saying just a word, was monumental, because it's something that even furthers our show's narrative of inclusivity.
Right. And to like go off that too, I love when they show you burial scenes in particular. And I remember there was a scene very early on, maybe in like episode 1 or 2, it might have been even the pilot, where they have to do a burial, and there were things that Killian's character was doing, Justin's doing, that I was like, I haven't heard that before, and I just looked it up, and then I was like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful, like the things that they add and the reasons why that's on the body, and like the things that they do, and it was such a beautiful thing. And one of my friends, I remember said, oh, they don't explain like what that means or why that's there. And I said, no. And why should they? Like, I said, would you explain it? If you were at a funeral and we were like being filmed, would you go, this is a casket and this is like, you wouldn't do that. So when I saw it, I wanted to know what it was. I wanted to be educated. I wanted to look up and say, why is this important? Why is this important to this character? And I looked it up, and that's what your show does and has accomplished. And like with no preaching, which is something that's just so beautiful.
And it's not done. There's always preaching going on, and I'm just like, but great.
I know. But I mean, like the show, it's so good. So like I don't want to like harp on it too much, but I want to bring it up and talk about it for a decent amount of time because it's so original and not being done. And I think your show has opened the door for other shows because I've seen other shows coming up now that are like kind of doing the same thing or like have conversations, not really explain them. Or sometimes there'll be like a conversation that's not translated and I don't need to know like what he said. Like obviously, you know what I mean? Like there are things like that are happening and it's happening more frequently now, but it wasn't happening when you guys were filming and it wasn't happening when the show was coming out.
You know, I mean, anytime a show can, and I'm not saying that we're doing this at all. I don't want to think too highly of myself or what we're doing, but anytime a show can usher in a new narrative and people can take that and run with it, you've achieved something great. So I hope with what we're doing, we can make it normal moving forward for these types of conversations to be had, for these types of people to be on screen and actually be a part of the story and not be the brunt of a joke.
Yeah. And I mean, so I just love it. I'm glad we talked about it. I know it's like deep. People are coming in and they're like, what? Deep conversation, but it has to be said. It has to be talked about because your show is very different than other shows. And I've been big about this with a lot of people that I've interviewed because like, you know, obviously Jared's the executive producer of the show. He's on Walker. Walker does similar stuff. Jensen, obviously they have a connection. Anyone listening, shocker, they were both in Supernatural. Jensen on I know, shocker, you didn't hear it. But for the Winchesters did the same thing. And so we're entering a new era into showing this diversity. So for all of these actors that I've been talking to that are on all of these shows, it's come up because it isn't normal. And what's amazing and the biggest thing for me is that, you know, I'm 36 and growing up, you know, you just saw white people or like you said, like the jokes, like, you know, all of that kind of stuff. Or like the wise men was like a, you know, an person or like, you know, things like that. Like it was never like what it should be. Whereas now you got 15-year-olds watching Walker and seeing some variety, Walker Independent seeing some variety, and the Winchester seeing variety. And the brains behind that are these two guys that have worked together on a show, you know, for 15 years. And it's just amazing that they're going to grow up and this is normal. And that's how it should be. And that's hopefully going. So that was like my kind of point of bringing it up, but I think, you know, it's important to talk about it. And you can't talk about Walker Independence without bringing it up. I think if anyone doesn't bring it up, it's either maybe they don't feel comfortable about it, but I feel like it needs to be said because
agree.
Me, you can ignore it.
No, I mean, you know, I can understand somebody's hesitation with, you know, like you said, if they don't feel comfortable, I get it completely.
Yeah,
if you don't feel comfortable with it, you know, but also too, I could never be mad at the pursuit of knowledge. If you just want to know, just to know, ask. You know, if it's insensitive, I'll just be like, hey, don't ask that shit again. You'll be fine. Just don't ask that. But I mean, if it's something where it's coming from, even if it is like on borderline insensitive, but it's coming from curiosity, genuine curiosity, not like, I got you at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, I love it and I want to talk about it and I'm glad you were so open about it. And I'm seeing changes in it and I'm just so happy with all these crews and all this crossover, all the people working together and it's just so great. So to kind of reiterate that, you had you have a couple of like kind of like crossovers between Walker and Walker Independence. So first you had Matt that was on Walker and Hoyt that like flipped over to Independence and was playing his like ancestor. And I had a whole conversation with Matt about like the changes that he did and you know that cowboy Hoyt would be like long hair and the messy face. I love it and they are so different, but you know, Matt's so great with like the comedy and all of that kind of stuff. But then you also have another crossover. I don't know how the hell you two work together. Like, just before I ask my question, how the hell do you guys work together? Because I would talk to Matt and like the entire time I was either laughing or like semi-emotional. Like everything he says is either like I feel like super intense and I'm like, oh, or like laughing. And it was kind of like how we were talking before I hit the record.
Yeah.
I kept
Yeah.
going, oh my God, like we were either laughing or I was like, dude, you're so right. Like that's the feel with you too. So the two of you, I would die to see some video of the two of you not working because like I don't know how you guys get anything.
Matt is a beautiful soul. I love that man so much. It pains me how much I love him. No, he Matt, honestly, when it comes down to working with Matt, I admire the hell out of Matt. He's so effortless in his execution of just anything. And I'm just like, Matt, how the fuck did you do that? And he's just like, Philly, why are you asking me? You're doing it. And I'm like, no, I'm not. You're doing it. And then like it's this ongoing thing of me and him going back and forth and being like, no, you're great. No, you're great. No, 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 no. You're great. No, 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 you're great. I'm like, get out of my face. But me and Matt, like even just on like a personal level, when me and Matt can get together, have a conversation, Matt just bears his soul. What you see is what you get with Matt Barr, and that is one of the main things I admire about him. I know him on a very deeper level. I mean, obviously because we're on a show together, but because being somewhere for a year, you're only with your co-stars, you're only with your chosen family, and learning his ins and his outs. I have nothing but mad respect for Matt Barr. If you are watching Matt Barr, I love you. But no, I that man is a gem, is such a gem.
I know. And that literally he was just like you, and I can see why you all get along because just like you, we were having the same kind of conversation where I was like, oh yes, oh my God, I love you. Oh my God, let's and then laughing. And that's how it was with him. It was just it was like such a beautiful conversation. And it was so real, and you're so real. And like that's what makes it so great. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I get why it all works. Same thing with Kat. Like I understand it. And I want to talk to Justin. That's the plan. And with Justin, I've heard the same thing, like, just nothing but this beautiful openness to just be to talk, to educate, to have fun, to like just everything that you guys all seem to represent. And it's just beautiful that you were all put together, which is just
well, and that's such the funny part about a show because you never know what you're gonna get when you get on a show. But everybody, literally everybody, cast, crew, from our upper ups to anybody working on our show, what you see is what you get. Everybody's like this. And it amazes me every single time I'm on set. It takes me 10 minutes to say good morning to everybody. And it takes me 15 minutes to say good night to everybody because I just like hugs. I love hugs. I am such a big hugger and everybody's so welcoming to that. I've been on sets where people weren't as receptive and you kind of have like certain people you're just like okay
get a vibe.
Yeah, but everybody on our set again it is honestly one of the best things to be a part of just because of our family.
Yeah, and it shows in all the interviews because every time I talk to all of you, it's like so much love for everybody else, and it's just so great. So I just love it. I get so excited with you guys. But to talk about crossover, so you have that crossover, then you have Jared as an EP. So I want to hear what it's like working with Jared as an EP. If there's anything that like if he's come on set, if you have had to work with him at all, because a lot of executive producers will come on set, some don't, some like to just look at the kind of footage and deal with that. So you have that aspect of a crossover kind of from Walker to Walker Independence, but then you also have a mysterious cameo from Jared somewhere down the line that came on. So what was that all like?
Maybe I just have one of those faces.
I told before we started, I was like, he could do a really mean Jared impression because we were talking about Jared. He could do a really mean impression. It's really good.
I love Jared. From an EP perspective of Jared, he has always been very welcoming to anything that you have to say. Very welcoming. Jared has come to set twice. I want to say twice, maybe once. I don't know. I've seen Jared a couple times, but Jared is always. I want to talk about a specific moment. I think it was three. There's when Tom's character brings in Liam's body, and all you see is me carrying Liam's body and putting him into the wagon to go to the Undertaker. Jared was there for that. Jared was there for that, and he was having fun watching me pick up a 220-pound man 15 times. He was having a lot of fun, too much fun, to the point where he was just like, we should just make him do it like 5 more times, right? And I'm like, keep on playing. I'm gonna call Jen. So no, Jared is such a hoot when he comes to set. He's so much fun. I love any time we can spend together. But yeah, like from even him doing the surprise cameo. Jared had so much fun. I wasn't on set when he was filming that. It was my day off, and I had just gotten a little fur baby, so I needed to spend time with my fur baby. And he had so much fun.
Just like hide. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Jared's I gotta go home.
I met up with them afterwards, but no, Jared had so much fun, and it was snowing that day actually. And I had texted Jared, and I was just like, "Hey, are y'all even gonna film?" And he was just like, "We're waiting for." Actually, it wasn't snowing in the area that they were in, and I was like, "Oh, well, that's perfect." But no, Jared, he had a blast, and then I got to meet up with them afterwards, and we had dinner and talked about cleaning out colons. It's just a regular conversation with Jared Padalecki.
I know, the most random stuff.
A regular conversation.
Yeah, well, like the conversation it probably started with, "Oh, so how was it on set? Did you have a good time?" Into knowledge and facts and stuff like that.
Jared's super great with facts. So great with facts. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was so cool that he wanted to even come on, that he wanted to kind of have like some part of Walker Independence, and I thought it was like such a
little finale.
Yeah, like I thought it was like such a good idea, and it was cute, it was well done, and it kind of makes sense, and because you have like the Hoyt kind of crossover, that kind of work, so it kind of like all made sense, to have him on there. But
there are gonna be some more crossovers.
Will there? Should I ask that? Can I ask this? I don't know, because we don't know yet about a new season. We haven't gotten there yet, so I'm jumping ahead. But do you think that if you were to get renewed, which keep your fingers crossed, that there could be like a sort of somehow weird way of making like a Walker Independence situation in some way?
I will neither confirm or deny the possibility of a crossover like that.
Okay, so I'm going to take that as a yes for anyone listening. I was going to go with yes. I'm allowed to say yes. You can say that. I'm going to say yes, but that would be super cool. I don't know how the hell you guys would figure it out, but I think there's ways to do, like, I have a couple, like maybe like a couple ideas that are crazy, but it would be so fun to see the two you kind of cross over, or like something just crazy, or like, I don't know. There's
never know.
You never know in this world.
You never know. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to keep my mysterious thing going on. You never know.
Okay. I don't know if that was that mysterious, because I'm going with it's a yes, but but it's okay. You didn't say it, so you can't get in trouble, so it's okay. But so Jared is an EP that's like, obviously doing all of that stuff, coming on set, acting in the show. I thought it was so sweet, like to have like a little piece of the Walker Independence. So that kind of leads to the finale, or the final 2 episodes. So you gave the internet a heart attack. So and I see them early, you film them early, so we don't know, right? Like what people are going to react to, what's going to happen. We see Gus take a hit, get shot, right? I had a heart attack when I saw that episode, and it was killing me because I had to wait to like find out on Twitter like what everyone was going to say and like what was going on. And then people think like for screeners, sometimes some shows they will give us all of them. Other times they spread them apart. So they have this great way of giving us like all of them except for the last one. So like, out of like the networks will do that. So like I got up to that point and I was like, oh, like I was like freaking out, and then I couldn't say anything. So when it finally aired, and then I had seen the finale at that point, but when it finally aired, I head over to Twitter, and the world was freaking. I think they were not able to make Gus work out somehow. There was going to be a freaking riot going on.
Yeah.
So you get the script that you're shot. What were you thinking? And then were you going, oh shit, like they're gonna kill me? So like I want to hear your initial thoughts. And then did you see the internet reaction of how upset people were when they saw this whole thing go down?
Well, I fed into the yeah. If I can be a troll, I will be a troll. And I kept on telling people, I'm like, be careful what you ask for. You're asking for Augustus's backstory. Sometimes the sun has to set in order for another one to rise. Like I was just being very like, oh. But once people saw, it was was that 11 was the little flash pop, and then 12 you didn't see, or 12 did you see I got shot at the end? Yes, at the end of 12.
End of 12, because I think we got like your story. We got a little flashback, then we got your story, and then you got shot at the end of 12. We didn't know what was going on, and then 13 is when we find out like surgery and all this stuff starts happening in 13.
Yeah, it was when I read it initially, I was just nervous on the pure fact that for 12, I was narrating the whole thing. And I was like, I had asked them, I was like, are you sure you want to hear me talk for 42 minutes straight? And they were like, Philly, what are you talking about? Yeah, like yeah. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it doesn't make me nervous. Fine. I'm fine. But going through it, I was like, it's so great that they have you at the edge of your seat. And I was like, it's kind of good that it's me. Because if you take those characters that people will be mad at if something happens to them. I saw on Twitter that people were like, if Tom Davidson is hurt, I'm gonna be pissed. And then I saw, if Augustus is hurt, I'm gonna riot. I don't know who I'm gonna message, but I'm gonna message somebody. And I was like, it's one of those things where I'm so glad that Augustus is received so well. But yeah, I read it and I was like, yo, this is good. I texted James and I was just like, this is really good. Don't kill me though. I want to come back. And he was like, you're not done. You're not done. And I was like, okay. But what was taken out of 13, and I'm hoping in some way, shape, or form we can get it, is me on the table. That scene actually, if we were to leave it on air, we would have had to have been rated R.
Because
we would have had to have been rated R.
Because of the blood and all the stuff, or
because of me?
Because of what we're seeing?
Because of what was going on with like Augustus in that moment. I was actually convulsing at certain times.
Oh, okay. First, I thought you were saying like you weren't clothed or something. And I was going, oh, what?
Oh no. It was just it was just coming to that moment of like of how would Augustus be if he had gotten shot, and like him being left there and everything like that. It got very real for everybody on set. Like, I think Kat cried, Katie cried, Justin, he was just really quiet. Matt was like, it was a very real thing. And I Seamus had came in because Seamus was there and he was just like, I was like, oh shit. Yeah. So, I think
so for that scene, everyone kind of gave you obviously they know this is a heavy scene, right, for you to kind of make believable, and so they gave you your freedom. But by doing that, when you went all in, it was like scary, right? Because you're seeing like an actor that's a friend, but you're getting like nervous. How much is like going on? Is he okay? And then it's also his character. So I can imagine everybody standing going like watching. It's scary.
It was even for me when I was when I had went to ADR, because I had to do a couple more some more grunts. But even me watching it, I cringed because I was just like, Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. It's still that was hard for me to watch. And also when my wife when I got the letter that my wife had passed away, those two scenes for me in particular were very hard for me to watch. Very hard for me to film, actually. Very hard.
For the scene that you said that a portion was taken out and that you hope like at some point we could see or get our hands on.
Hopefully, yeah.
Which, listen, I'm all down for an exclusive if you want to send it over my way. But was it taken out to limit some of what we saw? So like was it from that one scene? So like you filmed it in its entirety, but parts were taken out to tone it down.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Okay. If they did not take it out, we would have had to been rated R. CW is not gonna it would have been it would have been something completely different. I think I mean, just from Augustus being brought in and that shock factor, it would have been like you would have thought Augustus was going to die. Like that would have, yeah.
So when you say about those two scenes, the letter, which was emotionally heavy, and then this last scene, like the scene in 13, which is emotionally but also physically heavy, how do you get there? Because when you read it, like, everyone makes it sound like it's so easy. Like you read it on there, there's a little bit of description of what you got to do. There's words and stuff, but how do you get to a point? Because you obviously went above and beyond to where they're like, we need to tone it down because people are going to freak out, like, so, I mean, how do you get to that level to make those scenes happen?
So, specifically talking about the letter scene, that day, that was the only scene that I had. And I'm glad that it was like that because I wanted to put all my energy, all my effort into that moment. I came on set, and usually, like I said, it takes me about 10 minutes to say good morning to everybody, hug everybody, greet them, ask them how their night was. Did they get any sleep? I came in, I was very much to myself. I had my earphones in, I was listening to music. We were passing the TP portion, and I had to place a memory in the TP to then, once I stepped into it, I was already in that emotion and in that feeling. So anytime I looked over towards the TP, I started to get emotional and I started to get watery eyed. And I was just like, I can't look at it, can't look at it. And it was so besides myself. And I actually started to feel bad because people were coming up to me and giving me hugs. And Alec, our first team AD, he was saving grace for me that day because he was making sure, like, people were kind of giving me my space for this moment, for this very heavy Gus story. And we sat down in the TP to go over rehearsal. I did not open the letter. I said my lines just da 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 da. Justin would hand me the letter. I did not open the letter, waited for a second, camera wise, so they can position certain things. We did that twice. And then we went into filming. First time we did it, when Shell, our director, yelled cut, he was like, I'm good if you're good. And I was like, I'm down, whatever you want to do. And he was just like, no, we have it. And he was asking our DP, Brooke, and our camera operator, our ACAM operator, Iken, he was like, do you guys have anything? And they were both like, no. Iken was like, I do, not from a performance wise, but from a camera standpoint, if I can try something else. And then Shell checked in with me and he was just like, are you okay to do another one? And I was like, I am. We did that scene twice. That was it.
Wow.
Justin, he came back in the second time after we were done and he was like, he had tears and he was just like, fuck, you making me cry. And I was like, I'm sorry.
But like,
and then
what do you think of though? Like, how do you get to that place? Is it like, do you use something from like acting that you were taught, or is it more of like you think of something bad? Like, how do you like get there? Because that scene was emotional. I got emotional. I got choked up watching that scene. Like, it was awful.
It helped to have been playing Augustus for a while. So getting into, because it was like, okay, does Augustus have a wife? Does Augustus have a family? These were the questions going through the season for me. And I'm like, does he have a family? What's going on? What is Augustus? What is his backstory? What is this? You're trying to make certain things make sense for you as a character to then play. And then when I saw the script and I found out that Augustus had a wife, I had to make it, okay, Augustus had a wife and Augustus had a kid. So not only was his wife killed, but also his kid was killed. So it was like he lost everything that he knew and everything that he held close to his heart. The reasoning as to why he didn't go back when he was shot in the leg, because, let's say Augustus did make his way home. He said, if I go home now, I put my family at risk. He was going to protect his family till the death of them. And to then find out that his wife was killed, and to read that letter, because in the letter it was written, hey, sorry for your our condolences, your wife da 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 was killed in a. So reading that and having that moment, and that's why I didn't open up the letter. At certain points in time, from an actor standpoint, and I'm saying this to actors, you have to protect yourself. You have to make sure you have everything you need, so that way when it comes time to performing, you're not doing it from a performance basis, but you do have to perform. You then have that gem. So that's why I didn't open up the letter. Yeah, that honesty moment. That's why I didn't open up that letter. I wanted that to be the first time I read it. And then, even the second time, it has to be, anytime you do it, it has to be the first time that you do it. That's what makes our industry so great.
And then what
You always have to find something.
What about that last scene though? So like, I mean, like you're on a table. I don't know about you, but a lot of actors, with most movies and stuff like that, not necessarily end up, in the 1800s being shot, having like random surgery that's not really surgery by doctor being done, all these things happening. So how did you prepare for that? Did you talk to someone? Or are you like, how does a body react? What does the body do? Or you just like went in, like, how does this happen? How do you make this magic happen? Because with that scene, I was also freaking out. So I'm freaking out about the shot. And then when I see the finale, I'm like almost crying watching that scene because it was so awful, like, and painful, and it just looked horrendous. So like, how did you do that?
My cast trusted me. I trusted them. I trusted Yangzum, our director of 13. I just felt, at some point in time, you have to trust the people around you, and then they have to then trust you. I didn't prep in a sense of like, how would a body react to this? How would a body react to that? I knew certain things because growing up where I grew up, you see certain things. So I just used some personal experience. But I also knew that he had been left out in the cold. I also knew that he had been losing blood. At certain points in time, you are going to convulse because you don't have anything to hold you. You're cold, you're this, you're that, the bullet's still in there, you're still bleeding. How much blood do you have left? You're bleeding from the mouth. There was so much going on with that scene in particular that the only thing that I wanted to do was fight. My little brain, not my little brain, the little voice in my brain was like, fight for your life. The reasoning as to why you were trying to handcuff Tom was because you put the pieces together. Fight for your life, fight for your life, fight for your life. So that was that. And even when Hoyt tried to give me the drink, I'm like, I'm not going out. I haven't drank. I don't drink. I'm not doing that. I'm not going on my deathbed drinking. Which was like a little funny thing between me and Hoyt. Yeah, it was, we did that about a good 3-4 times. Wow. Because there was so many of us. So they had to get different camera angles. They had to get different positionings. And there was one at one point, I think it was literally over top of me looking down, and you saw everybody around me. They didn't use that shot because, again, if they would have, we would have been rated R. But it's always challenging to get to an emotional place where you forget about everything and you then are your character, and whatever happens with your character, you just have to go along that journey. I usually go into a scene, I don't have anything planned. We can go over it, we can rehearse it as much as we want to. All right, cool, let's do it. Me and Matt, we will change things up. He'll say something different, I'll say something different. Me and Katie, she'll say something different, I'll say something different. Me and Greggy, I love Greggy, I love because I can mess Greg up. I can mess Greg up with a look. It just for me, it just takes a look. I break him. And I love it. But like even me and Kat, like, you have these things with your co-stars, and yeah, again, I may be going around in circles, but it is one of those things where you just have to then trust yourself.
Mm-hmm. So
going back to the actual question,
before we talk about the badass moment, which like comes right after that, like slowly after that, but your badass moment, which listen, Gus has a lot of like really cool moments, but like there's nothing better than that final shot. So I want to talk about that. But before we get there, when you do these scenes, how do you mentally walk away and leave that there? Because you're prepping up, you're doing everything that you got to do. You're wanting an honest moment, right? So like your letter and like you're doing all of these things. You want an honest moment, so I'm just going to do it. Like when I lie on that table, and this is what you're going to get. And then if we need to make changes, whatever. So then they're like, cut. Your body thinks it went through something that it didn't really go through. So how do you like walk away and then go like, that's done?
I just leave it like you did. I have to leave it.
Really?
I have to leave it. It still does. When I was doing ADR for, I had like a 2-hour long ADR session for 11, 12, and 13. But when I was doing ADR for 12 and I was doing the poems to my wife, I still was getting emotional because I was still that, you have to let it go, but what you went through still is a part of you. So it's still there in some way, shape, form, or capacity. And, you can still access it. But again, from an actor standpoint, you have to be kind to yourself. You have to give yourself all those necessary things that you need. You have to take care of yourself. And in that moment, the best thing for me to do is to let it go. I have done what I needed to do. I had my honest moment. I was vulnerable. I did everything that I could do my best in that moment. And that's that.
Yeah. And
you gotta wipe your hands.
Yeah, it's amazing you can, because some people kind of hold on to it, and then it's like not healthy, I think, when you walk off and you're like holding on to that.
Heath Ledger, and I love that man for what he brought, and even for his role for the Joker. Sometimes, yeah, you can go off into a deep end. It is because you're losing yourself in this character, in this person, in this reality that you are surrounded by. And it's so easy, when you're on set, auditioning wise, you have to work with, okay, we're on Zoom. I got to work with a Zoom camera. I got to think about, I have to create the world versus you being in that world. And now you, the actor, have that golden opportunity of just being your character, and everything around you is working for you. So it is a very slippery slope, very slippery slope.
Yeah. And a lot of actors that I've heard from that carry it seem to have a lot of stress and like things that come from that, like, just like negative, like mental emotions or like thoughts and things that come from it. So it's very nice to hear from you that you're able to kind of go, all right, like, yes, it's with me a little bit, but it's not affecting me in that way where like you're carrying it to a point where you need to like, do something, because it's just so difficult. I feel like when you throw your whole thing in, because like what people don't realize is like if you're doing a scene where you're crying, your body thinks you're crying, but mentally you're not crying. So like that like screw up kind of is very difficult to like walk away and just like get out of. And so it's healthy, I guess, in your approach that you're able to kind of drop what you can from it.
And it's funny you say mentally you aren't, but when you get lost in a character, your mental is that character. So mentally, you are crying, just like, like when you said, when you go through these moments, and you're crying, your body is reacting to what is going on.
Right.
And, sometimes it'll take you a moment to get out of it, because it's true. It took me a moment to get out of it. I just didn't drop it automatically. It was like I had to get myself out of the tent, take myself outside. I had a moment, and then I was like, okay. And then people started to come around. I started to get hugs, my good morning hugs. And I was like, all right, Philly's back, Philly's back, Philly's back, Philly's back. All right, we're good, we're good, we're good. Yeah. But it's amazing what we do.
Yeah.
And it is an art form, because the only thing we're trying to do every single moment is be and find an honest moment. That's it. We don't want to, I know me, myself, and my co-stars, we don't ever want to feel like we're just doing it just to do it. We always want to come from an honest moment. We always want to be authentic. We always want to put forth our best and where we are at that time. As an actor, you have good days, you have bad days. I've been on sets and I've had bad weeks. Hell,
yeah.
It is what it is, and you work through that, you push through that, you tread through it, and it is what it is.
No, I'm surprised, like after talking to you, beforehand now, and like hearing all of these things, this is the first time it's actually occurred to me with a lot of these scenes, and and I've spoken to a lot of people that had to do like crazy kind of emotional scenes like this. I'm actually surprised that there's not somebody on set like that, if you wanted to like come off and like, and maybe this should be a thing, I don't know, but if you wanted to like talk to somebody or like come off and just be like, how do I decompress, or what are their tools, or how do I mentally like kind of step away from it? Because to me that seems like a lot, and if some people can't do what you do, which is if you've been through a lot and like you're able to kind of like wipe some of it off, or as much as you can, and enough that like you can have some space, right? Like days go by, kind of can move on from it. It would be interesting if there was someone on set that can help with, and maybe that would prevent certain things that we've seen happen in our history of this industry. If there was someone there that you can maybe go, hey, listen, I'm having some trouble. Like I did the scene, I threw everything in it, and I can't get rid of whatever.
We do have certain things in place for that. Your chosen family at the end of the day will check in with you and be like, hey, are you good? Justin, hey, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He was like, are you sure? And I'm like, I'm good. I would tell you if I wasn't. He was like, all right, cool. Or like Laura Terry, our executive producer, when I tell you she is on it, she will check in with you. Seamus, he'll come, like when I was doing 13 and I was on the table, Seamus came in, Laura came in, Yangzin would check in. Chris, our first AD, he would check in, like, are you okay? You good? You need anything? Like everybody was so supportive and very aware of what was going on, to the point that they just made sure I was okay. And again, it is a dream to have that, because you don't really have it. You don't, I know on our set we do, but it should be a normalized thing. It should.
Yeah. So to kind of like, again, do a little swap around after that scene, you had this amazing, probably most legendary badass moment, I think, of probably anybody for the entire season, which is, and everyone knows what I'm talking about. So we're all having a heart attack that Gus might die. Then we're seeing Gus on a table getting sewn up by someone that's really not even a doctor, and like chaos is going on. He's not doing well. I'm getting nervous, biting my fingernails. And then Tom comes into play, shoot off start going on. And it looks like Tom's going to get one up on someone. And then bam, out of nowhere with everything he has, Gus turns over and gives the shot that kind of saves the day. So first of all, in this whole world, right? You're all doing like cowboys and Indian, kind of like having all this like fun kind of like play, right?
Yeah.
That experience, like to like you read it and you're like, all right, this is cool. Like I got this awesome scene, I get to shoot, blah blah. But like, what is that like to read that and then go, oh my gosh, like this is it? Because it's literally like the last like 2-3 minutes or whatever of the episode, and you're the one that gets kind of Tom taken. I mean, like he gets caught because of you. So what was that like to have that satisfaction and like to play that like cowboy day and hit that shot? Like it was just so good. It was so good. So what was that?
It was so satisfying because it was like, because you saw the relationship between Tom and Augustus over the season and how Tom tried to get into Augustus and like his even with emptier pockets, how much do you have? And Augustus doesn't have anything, and he's just like, so you saw, and not only that, but like Tom being deceptive and like causing all this drama, the Davidson family, it was just it was so satisfying. It was so satisfying. Oh, I loved every moment of it. I was like, I shot his ass.
It was so great. And like I like clapped like when I was like, yes, because you have this guy that's like in the worst condition ever. And like somehow is cognizant of what's going on and still is able to take a shot and not miss, like like knowing that there's so much on the line and just I mean, like it couldn't have been like more beautiful. Like I was like, it was so good. And I was so happy that you were the one that did it. And I agree, like because of their relationship and everything that's kind of gone on. But I just also loved too that it was, someone, again, like when we kind of go back, someone of color, someone that's of authority, you're the one that was like, I'm taking this motherfucker back. Like you're the one, like it was so good.
Yeah.
And I just know so many people were talking about that moment. I mean, it's such a moment.
I mean, because it was great that me and Abby were the ones who got him. I shot him. Abby finished him off.
Yeah.
Not finished him off, like not killed him, but you know what I mean.
Hits him in the head,
yeah. So, it was the two people that, I mean, one, he had been manipulating Abby the whole entire time. And like their story gets unveiled and how long he's known and et cetera, et cetera. And then, with him being such a dick to Gus and like having those two people that he's caused a lot of damage to finally get their just due. Great.
I know it was, and like as a viewer, it was amazing. And again on social, I always head over to social, and it was just like, oh my god, like just people were just like forget. It was like such an amazing moment. So Nab the best moment on the show. So congratulations, because that was the best moment of the whole season in terms of gotcha. It was so good. So the show ends with Tom with a letter basically now saying that, if you can get him out of whatever trouble, I'm offering 10,000, right? And then we catch up to Tom, that little slimy bastard, and he's missing, and the one that was taking him a shot and all of this kind of stuff. So did it end in a satisfying way, like hypothetically? And I've read this before where some of the writers and producers and stuff have said, did we end it in a way where like we could just end it and you're just satisfied, like the shot went on, like things like that, and maybe he's just gone forever and out in the wind and will never come back? Yes. But did you guys end it in a way where like there's 1,000 million stories to go on for season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on? Yes. So I mean, it ended so well. And I felt so good, like just about the ending altogether. So for you, have you heard anything about a renewal? Because we're like, listen, I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna be upfront because it's you, and I haven't said this to anyone else that I've interviewed, but because it's you, I'm gonna be upfront. CW, right, is like in the middle of some sort of like mergery situation, which nobody wants to like seem to talk about. Okay, so fine. So like I didn't ask a younger group that I interviewed from all the other shows, but facts are the facts, right? So they're limiting what shows they're renewing. We don't know. So everyone's like nervous. Everyone, I'm not gonna lie, everyone wants Walker Independence, and the Winchesters to get renewed. I mean, it's simple. It's pretty very vocal online. It's very apparent. There's a question mark there. So have you guys heard anything? And then if not, is there like a date that you are supposed to hear something by? Because I know people might not know this, but I think I mentioned in a different interview, on the back end, you guys get like letters of intent and things like that hold you. So like, if you're season, and then you negotiate your contract, blah, 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 all this boring behind the scenes kind of stuff. But you have to get it by a certain date. I think it's by June something.
Yes.
You have to get that
June
letter.
30th.
Yeah,
June 30th, yeah.
And then like you sign and negotiate if you want to come back. And this is all the boring behind the scenes stuff that nobody cares about, but this is how it works. Mm-hmm. To let you know, we do have upfronts coming up. So you hope and you would think that the upfronts, they would make an announcement, which means you would have to know before the upfronts.
Yeah.
So is that the span of where we're waiting now between now and hopefully the upfronts to find out what's going on?
You know what? Honestly, your guess is as good as mine.
I know I'm getting nervous.
It is one of the most nerve-wracking. I don't even want to use the word stressful because stressful isn't the word. It's nerve-wracking. It almost puts you in a depressive state because you don't know, and it's like, okay, well, if this isn't going to be a thing, what's going to happen? If this isn't going to, what is going to be our lives in a sense of like, our Wendy family, because we have grown so close and so attached, and we want our show to continue. That's why we fought so hard for season 1 in a sense of like everybody just showing up every single day on their A game and like just making sure we bring it, because we knew we were a new show and we knew that we had a lot to prove. And, hopefully we get those opportunities to prove it even more. But yeah, we don't know anything. We could know something today. We could have known something yesterday. We could know something next week.
Right.
We are all waiting. We're all hoping for, something to come about. I know specifically for me, I've turned down 2 projects now for me starring in other shows because I am sticking it out with my Wendy fam.
It's going to keep going. This might not make sense to someone listening, but it will make sense to you. Are you still in first position, or are you done because the season's over?
First position.
Okay, so
anybody that doesn't, so anybody that doesn't know what that means, first position being on a show means like you are main player. You're a main player on a show.
You're locked into that show.
You're locked into that show.
And then if you wanted to act in like another movie, so if they approached you, if they approached you and you said yes, they would have to work around your number 1 locked in show. So if you were to be offered the Batman sequel, and for example, if you were to be offered, I don't know why that's first thing. If you were to be offered the Batman sequel, they would
shout out.
Actually, shout out. Let's put that out there. They would contractually have to work around Walker Independence if there was a season 2 because you're in first position. It's kind of like how they order you, and that would be your second position would be Batman. And then if you got another job, they would have to work around the first 2 above it, and so on and so on. So on
and so forth.
So position in terms
still first position, and that was the other thing too. My team have reached out to CW and CBS, and they're not letting any of us out of our contracts, not even in the sense of like we're trying to get out of our contracts, but when it comes down to other jobs being offered to you, your team's going to reach out and be like, hey, do we know anything? Can we hear anything? And so we haven't been told no. That's the great thing about it. That's the good thing. We haven't been told no. And I mean, the powers that be could already have said yes, and they're just waiting for dust to settle to then say no. Or, the powers could have already said yes, and they're just waiting for dust to settle to then say yes. We don't know anything. I think that we'll be fine. I don't know in what capacity we'll be fine is, but I know we'll be fine.
Well, that was going to be my next question, because so you're still in first position and all of that stuff, which is great. And I understand what you're talking about in terms of an actor. So for people that are like, well, what do you mean? Like if he's contracted, everything should be good. Not necessarily. So like if they weren't to move forward and he's turning down jobs, what he means is that those jobs might not come back around again. So now you're in like this horrible like purgatory limbo where it's like you're really hoping your show moves forward, but if it doesn't, you're saying no to things that you could have said yes to, and you just don't know. And unfortunately, I don't know why the industry is set up the way it is, but it's how it's set up. So it's like you just kind of have to go with where you're going with the contracts and all of that fun stuff. So
and that's why I told them, I was like, I told my executive producers, I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I said, look, I'm not going down without a fight. Okay. Just get me in front of somebody with CW. I'll have a talk.
Well, that was going to be my other question is I've been hearing some rumors too that some of these shows, because, again, a lot of it's very family. Walker Independence and the Winchesters are all relatively family. We got two little dads here, Jensen and Jared, kind of molding the ship. So I've heard some rumors that, let's say hypothetically, it wasn't renewed, that there might be backup plans in terms of streaming services and ways of continuing the show. So has that come across to you as well?
It has, but we can't do anything until CW says no.
Right.
This is all information that we it's not anything that I would get in trouble for. We can't do anything until CW says they do not want to renew. When they don't want to renew, then we can have conversations about like, okay, well, what streaming platforms could we go to? The shitty part about it, being very transparent to people that are now watching this, is we are going into our year and already well into our year that even if we did want to go into certain streaming services or certain other platforms, they've already spent monies for their 2023, 2024.
Correct.
So we are, again, in that limbo of like, is there something out there? Is there not something out there? What can we do?
Right.
So it's,
It's kind of like what people don't realize, like with shows like Manifest is a great example. When it got canceled after season 3, when Netflix picked it up, people had to wait like 2 years because like by the time they picked it up, by the time the money was there, by the time it could be filmed, and then by the time it was ready to quote, stream, air, whatever you want to call it, it was a significant period of time in between. Now, like in terms of acting, I think they get, from what I've heard, and every contract's different. They might give you some freedom in between that time to do other things. But in terms of fans, if you went to a streaming service, it's better than being canceled, but it sucks because we have to wait a significant period of time to see the story kind of continue. So like the most ideal obviously would just be like, yep, we're renewing you. Let's call it a day. Let's get to season 2.
Yeah. That would be the obvious thing and what we would hope at the end of the day. Even if, because Nexstar is still, trying to figure out what they want to do and how they want to go about everything. And even if Nexstar hypothetically said, okay, we'll bring you back on for one more season. And, after that, we're done. Okay, cool. At least you have, us for one more season because it is so kind of late in the game, like just like kind of like a thank you for being patient with us. But, yeah. But again, I don't know. It's all speculation at this point.
I know. I hate it. And the other thing that I do, and I know like some people might go, oh, but that sounds terrible. Like if they say season 2 and that's it. But it wraps up a lot of things. Like and again, this is not what I want to happen. I want multiple seasons. I love this show. So this is not what I want to happen. So anyone listening, that's not what I'm saying. But just like options, if they were to do that, it gives a chance for the viewers to have like some sort of closure, right? It gives the characters closure and things like that. But it also protects the people that are acting and then the crew. Because every show, there's 400 plus people. And when the show gets canceled, they all lose their jobs. So they all need to go find other places. So when you have an expiration date, so when they're actually like, well, we're going to bring you back for 2 more years, and then that's it. At the end of your second year, all right, I got to start looking. And like, you're a little more prepared. It's a little friendlier of a thing to do in the business than it is to just be like, forget the show. Like, we're just going to cancel it.
It is friendlier, but I learned this lesson from Larry Tang. We are in a business called show business.
Yep.
It is not fair. And as much as we would love our favorite shows to stay, sometimes it is what it is. I think that, and that's why I said, at the end of the day, I think we will be okay. I don't know in what shape, form, or capacity we'll be okay.
Okay. So it's getting renewed for 10 seasons. You heard it here. We're just going to tell you now. Well, I'm keeping my fingers crossed because like I definitely want to renew on the show. I freaking love this show. Like I'm sure you could tell how much. I love this show. So I'm like,
and I do know some stuff for season 2 idea
like
wise.
ideas. Mm.
And let me tell you, y'all are not ready.
I'm so excited. I know. So I'm just waiting. And I feel the same as you, like just based off of history. I think it would be a huge upset, but based off history, by it being March, I would think, again, you never know. And I know show business, people are cutthroat in this business, but I'm gonna stay on the positive side, thinking that all 3 are coming back and we're good to go on all of them. But we will keep manifesting out positivity on that. So but to turn it again, or do another like little turn again, let's talk about some fun stuff really quickly because deep in this interview, we covered a lot of hard, your show covers a lot of hard hitting stuff. So we went really deep in there. Let's talk about some fun stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Shenanigans, pranks. What's going on behind when you guys are not doing all of these like crazy scenes and having to film when they're resetting the camera for an hour or 2 hours? Like what's going on?
Honestly, just jokes all the time. Again, if you get us on set, any of us, there are so many videos of us just being complete goofballs. Me, Katie, and Kat usually are singing. Anything Disney, that's just our thing. We're usually singing something Disney, or we're going to Crafty to go get some pickles with some chips. Or you can find somebody playing horseshoes. You can find us just being on our horses or us just out and about. Shenanigans and prank wise, we really didn't have, our show was shot very quickly. Usually it takes about, 8-9 days to shoot a show, right around that ballpark. We shot our show in 7 days and then we went down to 6.5 days. And that is a very quick turnaround to shoot a show, especially a Western at that. It is so quick. And but our crew and cast were absolutely freaking fantastic. But we all just had fun every single day. But notably for our, was it the last day? Yes. No. Yes, for our last day. Sorry, had my little thought. Katie put rocks in Justin's trailer in the shape of something I cannot say.
I mean, you could say it.
Well, actually, no. I think Justin put rocks in Katie's trailer, but Katie then lied to Justin, put rocks in his trailer in the shape of something, Dick.
I was gonna say you can say that. Okay. So she upped it. He put regular rocks in her, and she went up.
And she moved it. But she told him, she was just like, I didn't see any rocks in my trailer. And he was like, what do you mean? I put a pile of rocks in your trailer. She was like, they weren't in there. And he was like, Philly, did you move rocks? I'm like, no, I've been on set. He was just like, who the fuck moved these rocks? And so we were like, I had messaged our base camp PA, and I was just like, hey, did anybody move rocks? Did anybody move this? And he was just like, no, nobody moved rocks. I mean, I can maybe ask one of the transport people. And I was just like, okay, yeah. Because we were all trying to figure it out. So by the end of the day, when me and Justin had finished on the hilltop and we had wrapped for season 1, Justin went back to his trailer and there was a gigantic pile of rocks in the shape of a penis. And Katie did mic drop.
That's amazing. So, all right. So there was a little bit of shenanigans going on there. I saw a video, I forgot who posted it. One of you guys posted it, of the torrential downpour that stopped production. And you guys were just everyone's just running around having fun. And it was very cute. And there were some pictures.
Because we shoot in monsoon season. Anytime you're in Santa Fe between July and September, July, September-ish, monsoon. We were stopped by lightning storms. If it came within 5 miles of us, we had to stop, take cover. We couldn't do anything. So that day we were just stop after stop after stop after stop. And then Larry was just out there. He was just like, Yeah. 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 It was funny. It was really funny.
And then how did it work in terms of stealing? Did you steal anything? Clothes? I want to know all the good, juicy stuff. So did you steal anything from set props? Because your set in particular, I feel like has so many props that you can kind of maybe get away with something.
We do.
So did you steal?
I did. I didn't steal.
Okay.
I stole socks. Let me take that lie back. I did steal like 2 pairs of socks. I mean, but I feel like any actor does that. Like there's something about the socks. You just take the socks sometimes.
If it makes you feel better, someone else I interviewed this week related to this family of shows also said that they stole socks, which I thought was interesting. So it must be like a weird thing.
Just socks.
Do they give you
I mean,
socks?
I feel like they give us really good socks. They give us really good socks.
We need to know
every single project,
like the sock company or whatever they're giving you guys.
Literally every single project I've worked on, I have stolen a pair of socks. I don't know why. It is what it is. But for our last day, I was asking our props, Joey, our props master Joey, and I was like, "Hey, can I get Augustus's wedding ring?" And I was like, "Can I get his wedding ring and his badge?" He was like, "Maybe." So I got to keep the little makeshift sling that Augustus was wearing when he had the blood. So I got to keep that. I got to keep my wedding ring, and I got to keep my badge. Yeah, that's what I got to keep.
So no cowboy hat, no boots, no anything like that?
No, because if we would have kept that, I would have, there was no way. And some of the things were returned, we were renting it. I wish I would have kept my cowboy boots.
Like all right, thinking maybe for season 2 you could steal them. Well, because I know how this is my thing is I know how difficult it is, because what people might not know is when you show up on set and everything's kind of blocked out and production has like a little map of what you're filming that day and everyone knows what they're doing. When you go into your trailer, the clothing is hung up in your closet. So like what people don't realize is like your wardrobe's in there. You put it on, you go do your thing. You're supposed to go back to your trailer technically, take it off, put it back on the hanger, and then you leave. And then someone comes and picks it up. Sometimes they'll even pick it up while you're there. You might be eating or whatever. Trailer. So it's very difficult because people think, oh, why don't you just pick it up and walk out? And I'm like, well, it's kind of hard because they check, like they look at all the stuff and if something's missing. But there are ways over the years of me being on sets, I've seen, some people just kind of like slide something over but it seems the most easiest thing, which again sounds like common sense, would be to just ask. And usually people that ask seem to be able to take away some cool stuff. So
yeah. No, it's our costume designer, Marion Toy, who is absolutely brilliant and phenomenal. I have to give that woman credit. She made sure that all of our characters felt not only comfortable, but asked us, hey, like, is this something that you think you would wear? Is this something that you think you would wear? She was doing research on Black cowboys in the 1800s. We had like very, very like in-depth conversations. And as much as I love her, if I was given the chance, I would have stolen something. I would have. Yeah, I would have.
I would have, of course. I mean, like,
you know what I should have taken? You know what I should have taken? I should have taken Augustus's first handkerchief.
You know what I thought you should have taken? If I was your character, what I would have taken?
Wow.
The fake shell of the final shot that you gave.
Damn, that would have been good.
Because they don't need it. They're not going to keep it. So like I would have taken that final shell and been like, this is what I used in that last episode.
Damn, I didn't think about that.
We'll have
Where were you when I needed you?
I know. I'm going to say we'll have to talk during season 2 and I'll have to be like, all right, so after this episode that I just got a screener for, this is what you take. Go back and go grab it. But I really like badass, like to have that. We'll have or maybe we could just get like a fake one and we'll just write like that's what it. I mean, you could still.
No, that would have been great.
But I mean, like it's cool, right? First of all, I love you so much. I've kept you forever, but I have some fan questions. Do you have time to answer a couple fan questions?
I do. Are we going to do like a rapid fire?
Yeah, we're going to do fast.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I have even more since I left. Yikes.
Period.
Okay.
Because I retweeted it.
Oh, did you?
I did retweet it.
No. Did you like the photo I picked? I picked a very cute photo.
Wait, no,
Yeah.
wait.
I mean,
hold
they're
on,
all
wait.
cute of you. Okay, so I'm
Okay.
just gonna scroll through real fast. Okay, here's the one. Austin at NITASU 987 said, if you could talk, or he or she said, if you could talk to Gus, what would he say? What might Gus say to him?
If I could talk to Gus, what would he say to me?
Yeah, so like, what would
Meaning,
you say to him, and what would he say to you? Like, if you could have a conversation with Gus.
I, ooh, like if Augustus was at me, ooh, I
Yeah.
would say, I would ask him how, how did he, how does he remain so strong when he is faced with adversity? And I think Augustus would tell me, mm, that, this is such a good question. Damn, this is
Good
supposed to be
question.
quick. Austin, was it?
It was, yes, Austin.
Damn you, Austin.
With a little emoji like this.
Damn you,
Thinking,
Austin.
yeah, the thinking.
I I think that Augustus would tell me that um we are all people. Um, there's nobody bigger. I think I said this earlier on in our interview, or maybe prior to when we started. But
Yeah, I think it was before I
yeah,
hit record.
yeah. But there's nobody bigger than you. Everybody deserves respect. Treat people how you want to be treated, and if somebody doesn't treat you as such, put them in their place.
Damn. All right. Mic drop there. Marcy at Callian's baby girl, which I think is what it says.
Ooh.
So it's CALIANSBBY girl, GIRL, said, what is your favorite character trait of Augustus? And what about him would you want to explore further?
My favorite character trait is how noble Augustus is, but also uh, uh, how strong, in better lack of finding a word, because I'm trying to answer these quick. And what I would like to explore more of with Augustus is him being a little bit more short-tempered.
Ooh, okay. Like
Mhm.
it. I like it.
I
I
want
know
to see Augustus get mad.
it's really hard for us, like for anyone listening. I'm sure they hear me all the time, but we're talkers, the two of us. So it's very hard for us to do like a fast, like rapid question. It's
I'm
very
like,
so I feel you. I feel your pain.
I'm
Um,
like,
okay, so Cat is the display name. It's at PATHRYN34. He or she would like to know, when you were reading the script 112, were you intimidated or in awe? And can we call you Philly?
oh, you can call me Philly all you want to. You can call me Uncle Philly. A lot of people do. Because I got so much wisdom up here. I was definitely intimidated. I was so nervous. I was very apprehensive. I was shitting bricks because I was just like, are you sure you want to hear me talk for like 42 minutes straight? I'm like, are you sure? Like, and they were like, yeah. Like just besides the Augustus backstory of it all, just me doing the narration. Oh God. Whew,
Well, you nailed it.
terrified.
Laura hashtag SPN Nash or
I know
at
who that is.
underscore Walker. Do you underscore Walker SPN? He's saying hi. Wants to know if you're willing to share what's a go-to guilty pleasure food.
Anything sweet?
Anything sweet?
Anything sweet.
Candy,
I
cookies, all that.
Not candy.
Okay.
The smell of candy actually makes me sick. Believe it or not, the smell of candy
I'm not
actually makes me
perfect, I
sick.
swear.
But I am a cupcaker.
Okay.
I am a brownier. I am a caker. I am all of the above.
Question: corner of the brownies or middle of the brownies, or it does matter.
I like the corner.
I do like the.
I'll take a corner.
Yeah, I like the
I
little.
like a little crisp on it. Yeah, I'm fine. But I do like the middle too, because it's just the gooey.
I feel you. Me and you, I swear.
Same person.
It's there. I'm gonna say your name wrong, so I apologize. It's I'm just gonna spell it Pranjli, and it's at Fran J Styles. Here she said, "What trait of Gus would you like to keep?"
Like me myself?
Yes.
Ooh. It's so funny because we meld together. It's I've taken a lot of traits from Augustus and it's in my own personal life. Now, one that I have taken away from Gus is speaking up. Regardless if I feel uncomfortable with it, I'll say it. Yeah.
These are all good answers. It's like, feel pressure. Don't feel pressure. This is all people that love you. Jojo Marshmallow, who messaged me all the time. So I'm happy I get to ask you a question.
We love you, Jojo.
Love you, Jojo. At Jojo Marshmallow said, what has been a real learning point or moment experience for you that has had an impact on your self-awareness, and how has it informed your performance? Loves and hugs, Philly.
Loves and hugs back, and this one I cannot answer quick. Well,
maybe honestly, like a learning point or moment.
Well, honestly, everything, this whole season, this whole process of doing a show, this is my first series before it was filmed, but just the whole process of learning how to be on a TV show, learning how to take care of yourself on a show, how to develop a character over episodes versus just in an hour and 30 minutes or 2 hours. Like, there is so much that goes into it, and there is so much stamina that needs to be had in order to do it. So this whole learning process and even this whole process of being on Wendy. Yeah, that would be mic drop. Nervous laugh.
By the way, we should just like interview each other like every day. You can ask me a question. Like I just like I feel like we should have a show. We need to.
We literally, okay, this is off subject, but on subject.
That we've been on for so long.
We have been talking for literally 3 hours.
I know, because before I hit the record, and I'll keep this in because I don't care. I have no shame. Before we hit the record, me and you talked for like an hour and a half at least. Like, stuff. So we're
Which we will get on one day.
Yes, we will get on one day. I might hint. Maybe I'll hint a little towards the end. Can I hint a little bit?
Okay, cool.
I'll hint a little bit.
I don't mind. Okay. You hint.
So I'm gonna ask you like 2 more things. So Rain commissions are open or at Tame 67 Impala. Here she said, is there if there comes a point where he needed to choose between Kellyanne or defending independence, which would he choose? And then also, please tell him how much we love him and his performance as Gus. He is an amazing actor.
Thank you. That's hard.
So if you had to choose between Kellyanne or no, I want to bring this up to you. This is like sort of irrelevant, but kind of relevant for The Last of Us. Do you watch that show or not?
Don't be fans. Don't get mad at me. Do not get mad at me. I am horrible. I watched the first episode. Okay. I watched the first episode. It is hard for me to get into shows. I literally watch movies or documentaries, but I'm going to get into it.
Yeah, don't at him. But
don't at me.
The video game, there was this topic came up about kind of like saving one person versus saving the world and like what love does to you, right? Like making that decision. And apparently people over the video game have fought over like a decade since the game came out about the decision that is made at the end of the game, whether like you were to save one person or so. It just reminded me of that. So because they're asking you, would you choose Kellyanne or defending independence? Like which is the more important thing? And that's hard because you love him. So what do you do?
I love Kellyanne, and I also love independence, which has become a home. Oh, damn. I'm going to choose Kellyanne.
Ooh, all right. So the rest of us are screwed now. Just kidding.
We'll see now, and I because this is the thing, because I would be like, give me context. Like, what am I choosing over? Like, what is the dilemma
Oh
in
my
which
gosh.
I am choosing?
Only you, like when we're doing rapid fires, like I need more information. Tweet it right now. We need the context of
what is the context of what this means? Because then I could be like, okay, if it's saving him from like a carriage gone wild, he's fine. He could do it. Like,
from like tripping on something, he's good. I'll go with independence. Oh my god!
I feel like I'm gonna get added. I'm gonna get added. It's okay.
You're not gonna get added. We love you. Everybody loves you. All right. So Kristen apparently doesn't love you. Kristen loves Jared. Is her display name.
Well, Kristen.
This is the last question for you. So it's at CVRRY on Jared.
On Jared?
Yeah, it says CVRRY on
All right,
Jared.
Kristen.
My name Kristen loves Jared. If Augustus, this is what I'm going to end on because I think it's so perfect. If Augustus had a theme song, what would you choose?
I got it.
Are you gonna play it?
Okay, so this is how you know we've been on Zoom so long.
Oh my god, they died.
They died.
Oh my god, that's never happened. This is the first time that has happened.
Okay, so wait, God's gonna cut you down. Either version,
okay,
but God's gonna cut you down. I think that for Augustus, if you've heard that song, look it up. The one that I have in here, he has been canceled many times, so sorry. Marilyn Manson. That was the first person that I had heard it from.
All right, so we'll skip that. What about like Johnny Cash's version? God's gonna
Love Johnny Cash. Love Johnny Cash. Actually, I have a Gus playlist in my phone.
You?
So
you gotta share that with me.
I have God's Gonna Cut You Down. I have Ride the Lightning. I have Till You Can't. I have I Know I've Been Changed. I have like it goes from like Cody Johnson to Nina Simone to Lady Moon. I'm all over the place. Like I usually 9 times out of 10, you will catch me listening to music before I go on set, in my trailer, anywhere. You'll catch me listening to music.
I love that. So first of all, I need that playlist. Second of all, it sounds like it almost goes from Augustus to Gus, which I also love. Nina Simone, ooh, oh, deep cut. Love that.
Love it.
So wait, I want to make sure. I'm gonna play this. I don't normally do this, but is this the song? This is it's telling me I can't play. Oh, here we go. This is Johnny Cash's version. Is it? So everyone can look that up. So it's God's Gonna Cut You Down, Johnny Cash. There's a couple other renditions, but we'll go with
there's a couple different renditions of it. When I heard it, I was just looking up music, and Marilyn Manson's version had came on. Not a supporter of Marilyn Manson, let me say that. But I had saved the song, and I did know that Johnny Cash did a version of it. I just never did it.
I'm not gonna lie though, I think that this one works better with the twang and like the country vibe, and like I think that might
Which one? Marilyn's or Johnny's?
Johnny's, I think. Because Marilyn's a little more hardcore, isn't it?
No, his, if you listen to it, that was the first time I had heard Marilyn Manson, and him kind of toned down that metal.
Yeah, like he doesn't yell, like he doesn't do that like guttural like yell thing, which I'm not doing good, but like he doesn't do that. But it's it's still like it's not like the kind of country that Johnny Cash brings to it though.
It's not like the kind of country, but he does the song justice.
Well, let me tell you, this has been such a joy that not only for the first time ever have I broken someone's headphones because we've been on so long and killed them. We made them dead, so you have to recharge them.
I know.
Spoke to someone for an hour and a half before I hit the record button, and then also fell in love. But this is like one of the best interviews ever. I think everyone's going to listen to this and just love it. It was so great. You were so honest and open and raw and funny and hot as hell and just like amazing. So
no, honestly, I've enjoyed every single moment of this. And like certain interviews you do, you're just like, yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
yeah.
And then you get off, you're like, but no, this one I have thoroughly enjoyed. Even our conversation again.
Should I hint it? Okay, can I hint?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So before we started talking, and the second we started talking, love happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we mutually fell in love with each other and then started talking about our life. And I suffer from anxiety and I opened up about that. And Philly, but I could call Philly, my little Phil. I want to call you my little Phil because you're just so cute.
I don't mind.
Okay, so you're my little Phil. Started talking about your like struggles with anxiety and just things that we both have been through, and we kind of talked all about that, which led into a million other things because we're both very long-winded talkers that love to talk and explain ourselves. Which we also have in common, which led to an idea of hopefully having somebody that's known for a campaign related to anxiety and other mental health issues, like an advocate, maybe called Always Keep Fighting, come on with me and my little Philly to have an open dialogue and conversation maybe about what it's like and things that we could talk about and answer questions and give advice and maybe do some stuff like that. So nothing is set in stone at all. We were just kind of talking about it, throwing around ideas. So, but we're going to try to see if we can make that happen. And basically I'm just going to make my little Philly drive Jared nuts until he says yes. But we're going to try to make
it won't be hard. I'm just going to be like Jared. And then if Jared doesn't respond, I'll just be like, Jen, can you tell Jared to respond?
Yeah, make Jen is my girl. She'll make it happen if Jared doesn't answer.
I know.
She'll make it happen.
If I can't get in contact with
People
Jen,
know how this works.
With Jared. If I can't get in contact with Jared, I'll get in contact with Jen. Vice versa. I'm like one of them I'll get in contact with.
Yeah, so that's hopefully going to happen. So we're teasing it. There's no guarantee. Do not hold us to it, but we're going to try.
You're not at me, okay?
Yeah, don't add us. But
at Jared. There you go.
Yes, true. At Jared. Let's get him in trouble. Add him and say, do this with Phil and Monica. Message him. I'll tweet out this interview. I always tweet out after we're done. So when we're done, I'll tag Jared in there and like just add him and tell him answer the freaking phone when Philly calls.
At Jared. That's all I want is at Jared.
Oh my gosh. All right. I'm going to tweet something out that will cause that. We'll take care of that when this is over. So I'll tweet that out. I'm like Philly's fault at Jared. And I'm going to write something out and we'll add him. But that is our hope. So if you guys are listening, that is our hope. Hopefully we'll have something planned. If we do, we're very social media crazy. So we'll both post on socials. Jared will figure out how to post on his social. Jen will probably help. We'll get it on his social and then we'll come up with a date or something and try to have fun kind of opening up the door that it's okay. It's all right to have some anxiety and to have some, mental health issues and how we could talk about it and go through it. So we want to kind of share it with you guys. So that's a little tease of kind of what we were talking about a little bit beforehand. So a little tease. Don't add us at Jared, but I will tweet about it. So before you even hear this, you will see my tweet today. So when you listen to this, go back a couple days, 4 or 5 days, look at my Twitter and you'll see the tweet and you just add him.
There we go.
That's how we handle it. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on, talking to me for so long, being so open and literally being my new, I just love you. So I want your partner out of the picture and we just need to change some things and make it work. And I'm okay with it.
I do not mind. It's okay. They'll go.
Yeah. He'd stay, but I'll just be your girlfriend and it's okay. And you can just do, what you need to do. I just get the joy of hanging out with you. And I'm good with that too.
Period.
End of story. Yeah.
Period.
We're just good. Done. Well, I love you so much. I love you on the show. You're fantastic. I'm praying for a season 2. I have my fingers crossed. The day it comes, I'm going to freaking message you that second I get that PR release. So I'm hoping that we get an announcement. This has been such a joy. I love you so much. Tell everyone that's there, or if it's just your partner, I'm sorry that I took up 75 hours of your day, but we love you.
It's my little fur baby. He's somewhere. He's okay. He's fine. Our little robot vacuum started, so he's probably going to chase after that. He'll be fine.
All right. So good. So hopefully I didn't take up too much of your time, but I
was having such a great time that I was like, hey, I need to move my laser hair removal appointment.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was supposed to be at 2:00. We're fine. Oh, we're fine.
Did you move it though? Or are you okay?
I did. We're later. Okay. We're good.
Okay, good.
We're good. I just gotta go get.
I was like, you can't. I was like, we were talking about that before we hit record. I don't want to screw that up too. Like, oh my goodness. All right, good. You're all set.
You were worth it. I do not mind.
Oh my gosh, you were worth it. I love you.
I love you too.
I totally love you. All right, so I'm gonna message you after this, and just share more love with you. But we'll talk more and we'll figure something out. But I want to thank you. If you guys want to watch Walker Independence, please go watch it. It's on the CW app, all episodes. Watch the whole season. If you did already, you got some background, got some more info because we talked to Kat. Now we're much further down the road. We're talking to you, Philly, after the whole thing aired. So now you can hear some stuff and go back and rewatch it again, and just keep watching.
There's Easter eggs in there. There are still Easter eggs in there that people still have not caught.
Ooh, okay. So someone can be the first one to catch something. So and tag him. Oh, yep. And really quickly, I do have to acknowledge to the fans that want you at conventions, round of applause, because I have seen some serious dedication to get you at these cons. So thank you, because I want to see Philly at some cons myself. So let's get this guy some coin and get him in these cons. So
y'all literally have anytime I see that, it does my heart good. I have been fighting my butt off, so has my team. And, so I don't want you to think that anything that y'all are doing is going in vain. It is not. We are pushing as hard as we possibly can. I would love the opportunity to go to a con, not just to experience that, but just to meet y'all, get to hug you, have a talk. I know they're going to be mad at me, and I think this is their intention. They're intentionally not inviting me because they know I'm long-winded, and they're going to be like, no, you need to speed this up. There's a process. And I'm just going to be talking. I'm just going to be like, no, it's okay. 5 minutes. No, come on, talk. Yeah.
I would love for you. First of all, you have to do cons, and you get it's good pay, right? Let's just be real. Get him some money. Get him at these cons. I see all the fans that want to meet you anyway. So let's keep tagging Creation. I can say it. He can't. I'll say it. Keep tagging Creation. Keep tagging everyone. Get him at these cons. We all want to see him, because I want you to come to a con near me. And I don't do the fan cons, right? Because I interview everybody, but I would come just to get a hug from you, because I haven't been able to meet you in person. So
I would love that. I would love that. I would just be like, just stay with me the whole time. Just be here.
Hi. Oh, yeah, I totally would.
I'm such that person where if I see people that I know, I bundle you up. And I'm like,
oh my gosh, I would just stay. And no, you know what would happen? I'd be like, you're hugging him too long. Move. Come on, stop. That went a little too long for me. I feel uncomfortable. Well, yeah. So keep tagging him for cons, please. I want to see him. I want you to be at somewhere near me, and we'll figure it out. Or if you ever come to New York, or if I'm ever where you guys are, I want to come on set next season, so we'll figure all that out. I will love that. I will hug you. We will figure it out.
I literally would love it.
Yeah, so please keep tagging him for Creation. Get everybody up in arms about it, because he needs to be there. We're going to @ Jared, so check out my tweet. But again, by the time you hear this, you'll have to scroll back, find it, and then @ him. And other than that, stay tuned and watch the show. Go check it out. Thank you so much. Bye.
Hope you guys enjoyed listening to Philemon Chambers, aka Philly, talk about what it was like being on the show, how much he loves his character, the development of Augustus, and of course that epic badass finale. It was so much fun talking to him and getting to hear all of the behind the scenes details. If you missed any of the episodes, head over to the CW app, where you can stream all of Walker Independence for free. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you're updated on all of our latest podcasts, and head over to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe so you're updated on all of our video content.